Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye, bye. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I appreciate the concept of fucking tapping in with me, right? I'm very humbled by it. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Now, the guy on the thumbnail, that right there, you can see the transition from youngster to not giving a fuck anymore. To the eyes, we used to call them the devil eyes. Okay? In prison, there's a thing called the black eyes, the devil eyes. It's when you lose all hope. It's when you just don't give a fuck anymore. Very few people get them eyes, but when they get them, it's over. That's straight killer shit, right? This video is about how a hitter is created. Now, when a person is a gang member, identifies with the group in prison, on the streets, you know, a lot of guys want attention. They want the attention. They want to be known. They want to be feared, respected and feared. That's the name of the game, right? And so I used to feel the same type of way. I used to want not only the adversary and the opposition to know about me and not want any smoke, right? But also my own homeboys. I wanted to walk into a room and motherfuckers fear me. In doing so, I realized, right, that what I was doing was I was ostracizing myself. I was segregating myself from the canalismo, from the love, from the, you know, having a good time. It went from going into a house with all the homeboys like, yeah, what's up, bro? Oh, shit, the homie's here. To like, oh, man, we don't want that fool here. Every time he's here, something stupid happens. Something bad happens, right? And with that comes a lot of hate and a lot of envy and a lot of scary cat-ass motherfuckers that will literally set you up or call the cops, or they're trying, you know, I look in so many different instances. I could tell you story after story that I found out now, since I'm not part of the shit, that some of the homeboys, man, were trying to cancel me out, calling the cops on me. You know, some of them were CIs. They were meeting with the gang task force, telling them I was the one in the mix, pushing the young homies or pushing the homies to do shit. A lot of it lies, most of it lies, right? But at the same time, I see where they were coming from. They were scared to be around me because they didn't want to get caught up in the situations I was creating, because I was too busy with the black eyes, not caring about anyone else or anyone else's feelings. And in doing so, man, that, like I said, made me an obstacle for the hood. Now, when I went to prison, I had a different type of mindset. It wasn't about proving myself. It wasn't about doing all that. I understood that the only way for me to make it was to go with the flow. And my first few terms was cool. I went with the flow. Everything was good. Whenever a situation popped up that I needed to stand up for, I did that. You know, nowadays it's a little bit different. Nowadays, see, back in my days, you whack someone, slice them, that's it, beat them up, boom, boom, boom. You be a bomber, not a hitter, and they're gone, right? Then it started to convert. You know, since this end of hostilities in this California model, now it's like the most vicious, violent game ever to be played. Now they're fucking stabbing you 100 times, right? And it's happening every single time. But I'm noticing a pattern. And the pattern is a lot of these removals, a lot of these pegadas, these stabbings are happening by the same people over and over again. You know, someone that has been created as a hitter. And they're not just catching one or two bodies, they're catching numerous bodies. This youngster that you see on the thumbnails from Stanislaus County, Modesto, California, right? And you can see in one of the pictures on the thumbnail, he had the long hair. He was young, probably impressionable, got there, was a striving Norteno, was in good standings, was in doing 15 years, okay, on an assault case. And that's the perfect person to sink your teeth into, the perfect person to sink your claws into, right? When you got a young homeboy that's impressionable, that wants to strive and wants to be educated, these are the type of guys that are preyed upon to do the acts that others don't want to commit. Because not everybody in prison wants to do a stabbing or wants to do a murder. They're not trying to do all that. Look, a lot of these guys have life in prison, but that doesn't mean they want to go out into the yard and sacrifice what little they've gained or they've attained while there. People are still getting visits. They're getting packages. They're getting canteen. They can fuck up a whole thing that they've been working on for years. Some of these guys meet a chick and it takes some time. Over time, it's hard to have a relationship in prison. It takes time to get these chicks right where you want them, where they're sending money. They're coming to visit every weekend. Packages are good every quarter. And then something happens. Some fucking dumbass, some tonto comes on the yard, right? And next thing you know, now you got to remove them. And you're asked to assist the casa. And everything you've been working on, who cares about, your family visits? Who cares about your visitas? Who cares about any of that? Because you're a homeboy and the shit don't come for free. You will get your fucking hands dirty like the rest of them, right? You're asked to assist the casa. Now, it's always asked. You're always asked to assist. But really, it's told. Like, if they come up to you and I'm not going to tell you who they is, but if they come up to you and say, hey, you know what I'm saying? We need you to assist the casa. It's never going to be like that either. It's not going to be like someone coming up to you and pulling you to the side. You're going to get a huila, hey, homie, we need your assistance, whatever, right? And being a part or functioning as a part of that group, you got to raise your hand. You ain't got no choice. You got to do it, right? And you can question it. You can ask why, what the hell's going on, and if the person that's running that yard or that's in the mix decides to let you know, they can let you know. They don't have to let you know shit, right? And it's a fucked up situation because it's your life, your time, your family, everything on the line. But again, every time you're screaming Norte or you're rocking the 1-4s or you're getting the 4 dots or you got the red rags and all that shit comes with a price. Nothing is free in this world. When they say nothing, they literally mean nothing, not even gangbanging. You will have to pay the piper one day. You will have to be accounted for. And that doesn't mean it ends right there. What's crazy is like what's going on nowadays with the youngsters. Ever since the youth authority got shut down, the youngsters are not getting all day in prison. They're not getting where it was life as a minor or sometimes even getting charged as an adult and then you do 7-8 years in fucking wire or until you're the age of 21 and then you're shipped. You catch the M number and you're shipped to prison, right? They're not doing that anymore. Now they're just going to their juvenile hall, doing 8-9 months, even if they kill someone and being re-released to the streets. That doesn't teach them a lesson. That's nothing. They're going and they're kicking it with the homies and learning some more gangbanging skills and tactics, and they're getting right out and they're getting straight to it. And the people that know what time it is that are in the mix see that, understand this loophole in the law, and are utilizing these youngsters to go out there and really commit a gang of murders, man, to really go out there because they're not getting time. So if you think about it, the big homie, the homeboy that's lacing you up in the hood or that's got you right here under his wing, he's not doing what he's telling you to do. He's living through you. It is what it is. That's the game. That's the way it's played now. No hatred towards it, man. It's just how it is, right? This dude, Joseph Gama from Modesto, he was a youngster, 15 years, landed in high desert. Unfortunately, man, when you're young, you got a bad case, not like a bad charges, but like you've done some violence. You got a history of violence. Then your points are going to be way up there, and you're going to go to places like Salinas Valley, high desert, these dangerous ass yards, these 180s, right? And he gets to high desert and immediately gets with the program. Well, I did a video yesterday about my primo that caught a body in high desert, right? This was his crimey, meaning this was the dude allegedly who did the pegada with them. But it wasn't his first one. Okay, it wasn't even close to his first one. So prior to that, as a youngster coming in, like I said, these are the type of individuals that are striving, that are going to be asked, hey, can you assist the casa? Meaning, can you go out there and do something for us? Can you remove someone? And because it's high desert, there used to be a rule in high desert. See, nobody wanted to go to high desert. I've seen dudes that are solid as fuck being told from Tracy, hey, you're going to high desert, and they roll it up right there. I'm cool. I'm good. I ain't going to high desert. A lot of people didn't want to go to high desert, not only because it was dangerous, like fucking, it was a 50-50 chance for everyone. Didn't matter if you were active or not that you'll get killed. But even more so than that, because it was so far away and people's family members, they couldn't go visit them, and it was a hardship, right? People just did not want to go to high desert. They had heard these stories. They were spooked, or people that had been there before, like, hell nah, it's racial out there. It's crazy out there. The homies are always in the mix. I'm good, right? And so I've seen people do that. But when your points are way up, you can go to high desert. You can go to Salinas Valley. You could end up in one of these dangerous ass prisons. This youngster ended up there. So he was a perfect candidate. It was a perfect storm. You see a young homie that's striving, that's solid, doesn't have nothing bad on his jacket, that's willing to do whatever it takes to be cool, to get noticed, to get recognized. Well, the knife's going to get placed in his hand immediately. Let's see what you're all about then, right? I've seen it before, man. I told you I was in Tracy prison. I seen a young homie from Stockton. I just chopped it up with him. And he was doing chicken shit time, right? He was doing a couple years, nothing much, like GTA, fucking still in the car and some other bullshit. And he was, hey, homie, where do you think I'm going to go on himself? Level 1, level 2, bro. You're straight. You know, he was a young, active Norteno, but it was nothing serious. And I was like, man, you're good, bro. You're going to go there, dorms, a couple homeboys, probably firefighters, and you're going to be out, and it is what it is. You know, I wasn't trying to tell him, nah, fuck that. You got to go to level 4 with all the hitters to be a homie. Like, some people believe that you have not achieved that level, that you're not really a gangster unless you go to these level 3s or level 4s. But that ain't the truth. The truth is prison's prison. You can get got anywhere. Just go do your fucking time and get out to your family, right? Even as an active Norteno, that's what I used to impress upon the young homies. Just do your fucking time. Keep your nose about the business like I did. I fucking stood out the way. On the streets, yeah, I was a maniac. I was doing crazy shit. I wanted to be that one in the hood, man, that was known for being crazy and all that. But when I got to prison, I understood there was a bunch of motherfuckers from a bunch of different cities that were bigger than mine that were just as crazy, if not crazier. So I played my role. I stood back. I leaned back. I let everyone else do their thing and get the acknowledgement. I'm cool. I'm trying to get in and get the fuck back out, right? That was my whole get down. So I would tell the youngsters the same thing. Get in, get out, bro. Don't indulge in drugs. Don't indulge in gambling. Don't indulge in none of that, because first of all, that's rather unbecoming of a gang member, right? Like, you don't do that weird shit. But also, even more so than that, that's going to get you in a combustible fucking position where you're going to explode. It's going to get you caught up on that yard. 9 times out of 10, people get caught up behind drugs, gambling, drinking, and not paying attention to their own fucking business, right? I've seen dudes that have went in and out of prison their whole lives doing their time. They get out, they're active, they're still good in the hood, all that shit over and over and over again. And I ask them, why? How are you able to do that, bro? Shit, there's always drama. You know what I'm saying? I stood out the way, bro. I was willing to defend the gospel, but I just stood out the way. I didn't get involved heavily into the politics. I didn't want that. I didn't need that, right? And I said, I see you. And thinking to myself, damn, what a stupid ass I was by getting involved in it. Whatever. So like I said, I talked to the youngster from Stockton, and then he turns around and gets asked to do a movida, and he does, and they catch a body, right? And him and the other homeboy from Tulare County are now facing murder fucking charges at the time, right? And the other dude's dead behind some bullshit. So it goes down like that. This dude, Joseph Gama, is a created hitter. He is someone that went in there to a very vicious prison and got caught up in the vicious cycle. So his first murder was done in High Desert. And the crime in that one was actually a homeboy from my own neighborhood, right? My old former neighborhood. I guess yesterday some dude tried to check me. That ain't your neighborhood. That's your former. Whatever, bro. Fucking call it. Hey, rub it all over your chichis. I don't give a fuck, right? That's where I grew up. That's always going to be the neighborhood I grew up, right? Anyways, in former neighborhood, right? And I'm not speaking gang related shit. I'm just talking about living fucking on the house on the block. But anyways, he was a dude from my neighborhood. And him and this guy, Joseph Gama, they did a removal, to which the guy lost his life. Because in High Desert, man, they don't play. I remember when my brother was doing time in High Desert, I was a little nervous for him. I was in Susanville at the time. I was a little skeptical about, he was on B Yard at the time, and it was rocking with the Kumis, meaning they were at war, right? And we had a homeboy that came from High Desert into the oil. And I was in the oil for a second. At this time, no, I was in the oil because they hadn't shipped us all out. We hadn't hit the linea yet, meaning they had us on an ad seg overflow. There was about 80 Norteños in the whole ad seg waiting to be processed and sent out to the yard. The yard was flipping at that time. And the non-active Norteños, it was a 50-50 yard. They were being taken off the yard because they got into it with the skinheads and the whites at the time. And we were going to be released to the yard. So we're all in the oil for a month or two, and we're waiting. And this homeboy from High Desert comes. He's my neighbor. And I'm chopping up with him. Hey, you know my brother? Oh, yeah, I know him. He's a good homie. This, and that. We're chopping it up. And he's like, yeah, bros, we're going at it with the Kumis. It's vicious over there, homie. He's like, it's vicious. It's what happened with him. And I was like, damn, so how are you able to get up out of there? You know, you already see, that's the way the mind is trained in prison. You all automatically start thinking, how the fuck you leave then, eh? You know what I mean? It's just that's how we think. You always think the negative rather than the positive. Instead of saying, hey, homie, you need a sopa, whatever. It's like, shh, why'd you leave High Desert, bro? Leave all the homies hanging. He's like, Charlie, bro, I was in the oil. I've been in the hole for fucking a minute. And, you know what I'm saying? My points dropped. Boom. I got lucky. Whatever, right? That was his story. He was a cool-ass homie from San Jose. So he was telling me, he was like, yeah, over there, man, they'll stab you 100 times. That's like minimum. I was like, damn, bro. I felt bad for my brother because he was having to live that life and go through that as an active Norteno. So I was a little nervous, a little apprehensive for him. But I had to focus on what was on my plate, and it was the fucking flipping of that yard. Anyways, we went out to the yard. The thing is with this dude, Joseph Gama, he got sent that same time to High Desert, and he picks up the first body with one of the homies from my neighborhood. And they put him in the hole. They charge him for it. He goes to the hole. But what they're doing now in the California system is they're re-releasing you right back to the yard. See, back in the days you caught a body, that was a big deal. That wasn't normal. You were gone off that yard. Automatically, they would place you in administrative segregation, give you a shoe if they could validate you. If they could validate you, they would. And if they could prove that you did that murder on behalf of an organization or a gang, a prison group, then more than likely you were going to catch that fucking that enhancement, that gang enhancement. You would catch that whatever it was, you know, of what you guys did, great bodily injury and all that. And then you were going to catch that validation point, right? You get validated, you're going to go shipped out to Pelican Bay or Corcoran or wherever they sent you to do your shoe term indefinitely. That indeterminate. That means forever. Like the movie Shot Caller, forever, right? Nowadays, there's not that. Nowadays, you kill someone, you go to the wheel for 2 weeks, you go right back to the yard. So now it's a continual cycle. Well, this guy goes to the fucking hole, does his time, doesn't go to the shoe, doesn't do none of that, comes right back to the yard. And him and my primo, the one I did a video on yesterday, they pick up another body, right? It's the same people doing it over and over again. You had that white dude, I forget his name, man. He was in New Folsom. And him and another hitter, man, they killed somebody, boom. They go to the hole, they come out. He kills another person with someone else, then decides to double back and kill his fucking crimey. I mean, just 3 bodies, boom, boom, boom. Then you had the dude from the 805 area, the dude that was the Northern Rider cat, right? And Monster, you know, the Monster dude, and the one that killed that youngster that was handcuffed to the desk in the day room, him and that other dude. They do that one. He comes out, him and a fucking Chiruhu kill another one, right? These guys, it's the same people doing it over and over again. Once you get that taste of blood, sangre, it's different. Once you get the first one out the way, it just is what it is now. You know, when you're killing on behalf of your people or for something you truly believe in, it just becomes, you pay it no, never mind. It just becomes what it is. And these guys got all day, or they turn their sentence into all day. You know, when you're facing 15 years, say, look at, you get 15 fucking years today. 15 years at 85%, but you're an active gang member. You're young, you're rambunctious, you're with the business. You already know, man, that 15 is going to turn at least into 25. That's right off the top, right? That's what's happened with this dude, man. He was created. A hitter was created. And now in his mind, I know what's going through his mind. You know, fuck it. It's too late. He sacrificed his whole life for this cause. What's unfortunate about this is he's not going to get brownie points wherever he goes. I mean, he's going to get, wherever he goes, they're going to say, oh, this is the homie. He's with it, man. He got 2 bodies already. Well, where's the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th? You know, there's going to be dudes that are like, hey, if he's willing to do it, let them fucking be stupid and do it. I'm cool. I got a family visit. I got cantina. You know, what about all the suffering this guy went through? Every time he goes to the hole, he loses all his property. He has to go through all the bullshit, no visiting, his family's suffering. You know, it's fucking crazy. It's part of prison. And yes, these guys know there's going to be some tough guys in the comments where they know what they signed up for, homie. You go against the grain, you catch it. All right, tough guy. What are you doing on the streets being tough? Why don't you go in there and be tough with them? You know, a lot of these youngsters are being utilized, man, unfortunately. And I'm not going to say who they're being utilized by, because it's not who you think it is, right? They're being utilized most of the time by fucking other homies that are right there on the yard that ain't willing to do what they're willing to do. Because the organizations, all that, they've did their thing. Can't take none from them guys. Them guys are a different level, right? But these dudes that are on the yard that are supposedly supposed to be somebody, they will find a youngster, man, and groom him and teach him the ways of combat and get into this motherfucker's mind, twist him up to where he thinks, man, that all these sacrifices he make is going to get him something. It's not going to get you nothing but life. It's just what it is, right? Anyways, man, how a hitter is created. This guy already got 2 bodies, man. I'm banking on the third. I'm telling you guys, I've seen this so many times. Dudes go in that are just like you and me. They're just regular, chopping it up, and then they just turn into straight up maniacs, and they're hitting everything on the yard. I've seen it in the youth authority as well. There was a youngster that got there, and he was a little white kid. I'll never forget, and he was being taken advantage of. I used to chop it up with him. He was cool. You know, wasn't a bad person, but I felt so bad that I couldn't do nothing for him. But my group had nothing to do with the group that was taking advantage of him, and because of certain circumstances, I just couldn't stop it. And the cops knew what was going on. And they didn't give a fuck, right? And eventually this guy got brutalized over and over again so many times that one day we're in the day room, okay? And he was ironing. They used to have an iron, but they'd have the iron chained to like the ironing board. And he's ironing, and this black dude comes out from PJ Watts. And he starts fucking with that dude. Because everybody did. You know, it was cold-blooded. There was some obscene things happening to him. I don't want to speak on it too much, but let's just say it was bad. He was being treated like a female, okay? And dude goes in there playing with them, and the dude's snapped. And he started beating that dude, the black dude, with the fucking the iron. Boom, boom, burned his face, just was on him, just cracking his shit. Cops come, take him out. He goes to the hole, goes to a different compound, becomes a straight up fucking hitter, just willing to fucking do anything, anytime for anyone. Sometimes you lose your mind, especially in a place like prison, man. A lot of twisted games being played. Anyways, just wanted to put that out there. You know, this guy, Joseph Gama, I hope that eventually, man, his life can get on a better trajectory, because the one he's on right now, catching body after body, I've seen that before, man. That shit does not end well. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. The gun. Bang, bang. Now, some of you youngsters, listen to this. This is real shit. If you want this to happen to you, it's up to you, man. Bang, bang.